Discover the incredible truth behind Genghis Khan's hidden practices that changed lives forever. Jack wiped the grease from his hands and looked around his modest mechanic shop. Business was slow, and his heart felt heavier with each passing day. The small town he loved had seen better days. The steel mills were closed, and the streets echoed with the ghosts of laughter and hard work that once filled them. He felt the weight of his responsibilities as a single father. 12-year-old Emma needed clothes, books, everything. But all he could hear were the sad murmurs of his heart, counting bills like ominous shadows. "Dad, can we go to the city? Please." Emma's voice cut through his thoughts like a sharp knife. She was 15 and dreaming of the big city life, while he was fighting to keep their town alive. The clash of their desires strained their relationship. It hurt him deeply. He wanted her to have everything, but he also wanted to protect the community he held dear. One afternoon, as he wandered through a local flea market, something caught his eye. A dusty old book titled Leadership of Legends whispered promises of forgotten wisdom. It detailed the practices of towering figures like Genghis Khan, men who thrived through community support and unwavering resilience. Intrigued, he bought it, hoping to glean something that might help him navigate his own turbulent life. The words inside began to take root. Jack started organizing barbecues in his backyard, inviting neighbors over for support, friendship, and laughter. Small engines started turning as younger mechanics sought his advice, rekindling the spirit of community that had long been absent. With every gathering, walls crumbled. He saw smiles, the laughter from the gatherings echoed down the street, pinpricks of light on a dreary canvas. And slowly, his shop found a pulse again. But then came the storm. A corporate giant announced plans to buy out local businesses, intending to gentrify their hometown. Jack's shop was a small piece of the pie, and he felt the anger rise in his chest. This wasn't just about his livelihood, it was about everything he valued. The tension escalated, deep-seated prejudices leaking into the open. Gritting his teeth, he prepared for the town hall meeting where he would stand against those corporate suits. Just as hope flickered, Emma unexpectedly sided with the corporation. Her dream of escape clashed violently with his battle for community. It felt like a punch in the gut, each word she spoke tearing away at the bond they had built together. Jack's heart raced with indignation and confusion. Didn't understand? Didn't she see the heart of their town slowly being ripped away? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the meeting loomed closer, Jack found himself at a breaking point, standing between preserving history and healing the rift in his family. He knew speaking out wasn't just about saving his shop. It was about the dreams he held for Emma and the future he wanted to reclaim for them both. The stakes felt impossibly high. A darkness hung heavy in the community room, and all eyes turned to him at the town hall. He felt smaller than ever, but he couldn't back down. Standing before the crowd, guilt and fear twisted inside him as he prepared to voice his plea, a plea for unity in a world ready to tear them apart. Would they listen? Would Emma understand? The moment arrived with the kind of weight that pressed down on Jack's shoulders, making him feel like he was trudging through mud. The room was packed, filled with familiar faces, each one a story mixed with laughter and tears. He could see Mr. Thompson, the retired teacher with a twinkle in his eye, and Mrs. Jenkins, clutching her purse tightly like it held the last bits of hope for the town. And there was Emma, sitting in the front row, her brows knitted together, a storm brewing in those bright blue eyes. Jack cleared his throat, feeling the sting of apprehension. The microphone seemed to amplify his heartbeat. I'm here today not just for my shop, but for each of us, he started, the words spilling out like a confession. The crowd grew silent, waiting, and he felt their collective attention like a heavy blanket wrapped around him. Every screw I fix, every tire I change, it means something. It keeps this community going. Gentrification isn't progress, it's a knife cutting us apart. It destroys what's important: our roots, our friendships, our history. He glanced at Emma, whose expression had shifted from defiance to uncertainty. Her soft gaze pierced through him, and he felt the breath hitch in his throat. We have to stand together. We've survived tough times before, but it's never been easy. Just look around. This town is filled with memories, with dreams that we've built with each other. Rich or poor, we all have a stake in making life better here. His hands clenched into fists, passion igniting like gasoline on a spark. As Jack spoke, he noticed a ripple moving through the audience. Heads nodded, murmurs of agreement floated around him. But there was still Emma, sitting there, torn between two worlds. It made him ache. He couldn't fight for his town and lose her at the same time. Emma, he breathed, letting her name linger in the air. I know you want to chase your dreams. You deserve to fly high. But you have to understand. His voice cracked, and he silently prayed that she'd hear him through the chaos. Life isn't just about leaving. Sometimes, it's about standing firm and making a difference where you are. The silence stretched, thick and palpable. Tension crackled like static electricity. Emma looked away, fists clenched in her lap. Jack's heart sank. He could feel the rift widening, each heartbeat echoing the distance between him and his daughter. At that moment, the opposition took the floor. The representatives from the corporation strutted in, slick and polished. Their confident smiles felt like a slap to Jack's raw nerves. Change is inevitable, one said, his voice laced with condescension. You can't fight progress. Anger bubbled inside Jack, but he pushed it down, determined not to show weakness. As they droned on, Jack turned to Emma one more time. Please, just listen. This is our home, he implored silently, trying to convey everything he felt without words. But Emma's gaze was fixed on the newcomers, her mind clearly racing with thoughts of the bright lights they promised. He lost her attention, and sorrow gripped him harder than any wrench ever could. Eventually, the meeting concluded, and Jack stood among the remnants of hope and despair. It felt like he'd fought a battle and lost. As people filed out, whispers filled the air, some hopeful, some melancholic. But Jack could only focus on one thing: Emma's face, confused and longing for a life he couldn't provide. That night, he sat on the porch, the stars flickering overhead. They felt so far away, much like his daughter's dreams now seemed. The community he loved was in danger, and so was his relationship with Emma. Were they both in the fight of a lifetime? Just as he thought he might have the answers, a shadow slipped into the darkness beside him. What do we do now, Dad? Emma's voice broke through the silence, heavy with uncertainty. A new journey loomed ahead, one that could either mend their rift or sever it completely. Jack turned to her, his heart racing. Would they find a way to bridge the gap, or would the pull of her dreams outweigh the ties of family? The air was thick with unresolved tension as Jack looked at Emma, his heart drumming a frantic rhythm of hope and fear. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, a million unsaid words danced between them. The porch creaked as he shifted to face her fully, the night wrapping around them like a thick blanket. Emma, he said softly, feeling the weight of their shared history, the late evenings spent fixing old cars, the laughter echoing through their small home. What do you want? It was a simple question, but it hung in the air, heavy with possibility. Emma hesitated, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her jacket. I want to see what's out there, Dad. I want to experience life beyond this town. I don't want to be a mechanic's daughter forever. The words rushed out, a torrent of emotion. Jack's chest tightened. He understood her yearning to explore, but it sliced through him like he was the one being torn from their home. You won't have to give up your roots to do that. You can experience the world and still come back. This place, it made you who you are. Emma looked away, her expression conflicted. And what if I don't want to come back? What if I find something that feels more like home? The honesty in her voice pierced through him. This wasn't just about the shop or the town anymore, it was about their relationship, about understanding each other in ways they hadn't before. Home is where the heart is, Emma. It's not just a location, it's a feeling, a community. What if you find a different home but lose the people who love you in the process? Jack felt each word as it slipped out, a plea wrapped in desperation. A silence settled between them, charged like a summer storm before the rain. Emma's gaze softened, but her resolve didn't waver. I need to learn who I am, Dad. And if I stay here, I might never find out. He opened his mouth to argue, but he couldn't. Deep down, he knew she was searching for something he couldn't provide. A bitter taste filled his mouth as the realization hit him. He was fighting not just for the town, but for a bond that felt like it was slipping through his fingers. Then, he hesitated, taking a moment that stretched like a taut string ready to snap. What if we find a way for you to explore? Maybe I can help you take your dreams along with you while we fight for our community. We could do both, Emma. Her eyes lit up for a fleeting second, a flicker of hope, before she was lost again in thought. You'd really do that? You'd support me? Jack nodded, but uncertainty gnawed at him. What would that mean for the fight ahead? The more he thought, the more tangled the threads of his heart became. I can't promise it'll be easy, and I don't want to lose you in the process. They stood together, the night stretching long and quiet around them. The stars shimmered in the sky, mocking their struggle with their untouched beauty. I need time to think, Emma finally said, her voice smaller now, like a child afraid of the dark. Can we talk more tomorrow? Jack felt a pang of longing, wishing for the comfort and simplicity of the past. He wanted to guide her, yet he knew this was her journey. Of course, we can take our time. As Emma walked back inside, Jack's heart ached with the bittersweet release of hope. Would this be the start of something new for both of them, or another step towards losing each other? The next morning, as dawn painted the sky in hues of orange and gold, Jack woke with a new sense of determination. He had to find a way to intertwine their dreams. But deep down, he wondered if it was really possible to hold on to both the past and the future. Just then, a knock on the door broke into his thoughts. When he opened it, he was met with an unexpected visitor, Mr. Thompson, with an envelope in hand and an urgency in his eyes. What is going on? You need to see this, the old teacher said, his voice grave. Jack's heart raced. What news lay within? Would it alter the fight he was preparing for? Jack's stomach churned as he took the envelope from Mr. Thompson. The old teacher's face was etched with concern, wrinkles deepening around his anxious eyes. There was something in his demeanor that told Jack this wasn't a casual visit. What's this about? Jack asked, trying to hold steady, though his hands shook slightly as he opened the worn paper. Just read it, Mr. Thompson urged, his voice low. I think you'll want to take a closer look. Jack unfolded the letter, his eyes scanning over the neatly penned words. The local council had drafted a proposal to sell a significant piece of land, one that was the heart of their community, to a big corporation for development. The words blurred as anger coursed through him. This wasn't just a piece of land, it was where he had learned the trade, where children played, where memories clung to each tree and fence post. Not again, he whispered, feeling the weight of frustration settle on his chest. Mr. Thompson put a reassuring hand on Jack's shoulder. They think they can just bulldoze history. But we can't let that happen. The town needs a rallying cry. Your daughter, she could lead it. Jack frowned, his focus shifting from the letter to the teacher. Emma? The weight of his words hung heavy. Emma had her dreams, he knew that. But could he thrust her into this? She has her eyes set on something else. I don't want to burden her. Sometimes our duty to our community is what helps us discover who we truly are, Mr. Thompson said, his voice steady. She needs to know her roots, Jack. This could be the spark she needs to grow. With a sigh, Jack's mind raced. A mixture of dread and pride filled him as he considered how Emma might react. Her dreams were alive and bright, but if this proposal went through, the very community that nurtured her dreams could be erased. "I can't let this happen," Jack finally said, the determination rising in him like a flame. "But how do I even start?" "We gather the townsfolk, share this news, and see what we can do to stop it," Mr. Thompson replied, his resolve unwavering. "Your voice carries weight. They look up to you." Jack's heart thumped loudly. He recalled the nights at the shop, the way his friends had shared laughter and worry over the future. He had kept the town alive with his work. Now, the town seemed desperate for him once again. With a deep breath, he nodded, commitment ebbing through him. "I'll do it. We'll fight for our home. But Emma, she needs to be part of this." The teacher's eyes brightened. If she understands the fight, she might find a connection between her dreams and the town she loves. This could help her realize what home truly means. Jack felt a new sense of purpose. "I'll talk to her tonight. Maybe, just maybe this will help us understand each other better." The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows as he stepped out of the house, the envelope crumpled in his hand. As he made his way to the shop, he thought of Emma. Would she stand beside him? Would she see the value in fighting for something bigger than themselves? He felt fear and hope intertwine in his chest. It was a start for both of them, a chance to merge their worlds into something beautiful. The door swung open, and Jack stepped into the shop, the familiar scent of oil and metal soothing him. He imagined Emma learning of the fight ahead, the fire lighting in her eyes. But would she embrace it, or see it as another pull away from her dreams? That evening, as the sun set, knocking on the door of more uncertainty, Jack knew this was just the beginning. He'd have to reach deeper, not just for his community, but for his daughter as well. But would the fight ahead bring them closer, or push them apart in ways he wasn't ready for? Jack stood in the shop, surrounded by the familiar hum of machinery and the gentle clinking of tools. He took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts while his gaze flickered to the window, watching the last rays of sun slip away. It was peaceful now, but inside him, a storm brewed. As he began to tidy up the workbench, his mind wandered to Emma. A fire ignited in him. This wasn't just about land or development, it was about their community, their home, and his daughter's future. He could picture her, with her curly hair bouncing as she ran out with friends, laughter spilling into the air. But today was different. Today, he must inject a sense of urgency into her, to share what was at stake. Could he convince her that this fight was as vital as her dreams? "Dad!" Emma's voice broke through his thoughts, pulling him back into reality. She entered the shop, her backpack slung over one shoulder, a bright smile on her face that momentarily eased his tension. "Hey there, kiddo," he replied, forcing a smile back, even as his heart raced. "You won't believe what Mrs. Garcia said today. Can you help me figure something out for my art project?" She chirped, unwrapping her canvas from the backpack. He nodded, but the weight of the letter pressed on his chest. "Of course, sweetheart. We can work on that. But first, there's something important I need to talk to you about." Emma furrowed her brow, setting the canvas down. "What is going on? You look kinda serious." Jack took a moment to collect himself. He needed to articulate his thoughts clearly, to convey the urgency without overwhelming her. "There's a proposal from the local council to sell that land at the edge of town, the one where your friends play soccer. They want to let some big corporation take it over, build things we don't even need." Her eyes widened with shock. "What? That's where we grew up." "Exactly," Jack continued, feeling his pulse quicken. "We can't let them just take it. We need to rally everyone, parents, kids, everyone in the community. You, Emma, you have something powerful to add to this." Emma crossed her arms, contemplating. "But, Dad, what does that have to do with me? I have the art show coming up." I'm focusing on that I don't want to get bogged down in something heavy. Jack felt a pang of worry that her dreams could slip further away. Sweetheart, think about it. This land, it's part of our roots. If we lose it, we lose part of who we are. If you get involved, it could inspire your art, give you a different perspective. I don't know, Emma hesitated, chewing her lip. I mean, I want to help, but I don't want to get pulled away from what I love. What if this becomes part of your love? What if you can merge your art with this fight? You could create something powerful for everyone to see, something that shows the importance of fighting for what we hold dear, Jack pressed, his heart racing with hope. Emma looked at him, and he could see the battle in her eyes, a flicker of understanding. You really think that could work? That people would care? Yes, he responded fervently. I believe it. They need voices like yours. This could make all the difference, not just for us, but for future kids who deserve a place to grow. She thought for a moment longer. Finally, her resolve began to harden. Okay, Dad. I'll do it. But you have to promise we can still work on my project. Absolutely, he promised, relief flooding through him. As they began brainstorming ideas for how to combine her art with the fight, the air grew electric with possibility. For the first time, Jack felt a connection forming between them, a unique bond that transcended their everyday lives and solidified a shared purpose. But just as they were getting into their ideas, the shop door swung open unexpectedly, and a familiar figure stepped in. It was Mrs. Finley, the town's historian, her face streaked with worry. Jack. Emma. You need to hear this. It's much worse than we thought. Jack and Emma shared a glance that mingled excitement and apprehension. What had they stepped into now? As Mrs. Finley began to speak, Jack felt the urgency escalate, knowing that this fight was transforming before their eyes. Would they be ready for what lay ahead? Jack leaned forward, the heaviness of Mrs. Finley's expression washing over him. Emma looked up at her, her youthful face a mask of concern. What do you mean, Mrs. Finley? What's worse? Mrs. Finley took a deep breath, steadying herself. I've been digging through the council's records and they're not just planning to sell that land. They intend to demolish the entire park area and rezone it for high-rise apartments. They'll push out small businesses and green spaces. This isn't just about soccer fields, it's about our identity. It's about people having nowhere to gather. Jack's heart sank, he felt like the ground was slipping from under him. He quickly glanced at Emma, whose eyes were wide, absorbing every word. High-rise apartments. Emma echoed, her voice tinged with disbelief. But that doesn't help anyone. It just makes a mess of everything we love. Exactly, Mrs. Finley replied, her voice thick with passion. If we don't act fast, this could change the core of our town forever. The developers don't care about history or community, they only want profit. Jack's mind raced. They had to mobilize their neighbors, but what would it take? His daughter's project suddenly seemed like more than just paint and canvas, it could become a rallying cry. Emma, we'll need your art more than ever, he said, feeling the urgency shift into resolve. What if we create a mural? Something that shows how important the park is. Emma's enthusiasm sparked, her voice growing stronger. We could illustrate our favorite memories there, what it's meant to all of us. That's brilliant, Jack said, a surge of pride rushing through him. We can invite others to join. Kids can paint memories, too. Blogs, hashtags, whatever it takes. We'll turn it into something contagious. The more he spoke, the more possibilities bloomed in his mind. Mrs. Finley nodded, her worry softening into determination. We can organize a community meeting. Let us get everyone together, show them the stakes. If they understand what is happening, they will want to fight. Emma's face lit up at the idea. I can create a poster for the meeting. Something eye-catching to draw in everyone. If we can make them feel what we feel, they'll care. Jack couldn't help but smile. He saw the fire in his daughter's eyes, a fighting spirit that mirrored his own. Let us do it then. Let us make people care. The trio wasted no time. They began tossing out ideas, their voices rising as plans formed. Discussions swirled about illustrations, slogans, and how to share their message on social media. The atmosphere hummed with renewed hope and adrenaline, charging through the shop like electricity. But just as Jack began to feel the shift towards action, his phone buzzed on the counter. He picked it up, sensing a change. The text was from a close friend who sat on the council. Jack, you need to prepare. There are rumors coursing through City Hall that things are moving faster than we thought. They might vote soon. The room fell silent. Jack looked at Emma and Mrs. Finley, their expressions now a mix of urgency and fear. They had a battle on their hands, but this was just the beginning. Okay, everyone. We've got to move fast, Jack said, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions within him. We need to get organized. This isn't just about the land anymore, it's about our town, our future. As they hurried to finalize their plans, the weight of what lay ahead settled heavily on Jack's shoulders. Would their small efforts make a difference against the tide? And deep down, he feared that they might be up against something larger than just land and dreams. What was really at stake here? Jack stepped back from the counter, glancing at the colorful paint swatches that littered the table. They could be vibrant, living tributes to their town. But right now, they felt like a fog of uncertainty. Emma was scribbling ideas for the poster on a scrap of paper, her brow furrowed in concentration. What if we add a hashtag? She suggested, looking up. Something like Save Our Park. It can help spread the word. Great idea, Mrs. Finley chimed in, her voice now filled with a mix of excitement and urgency. We also need to think about how to reach the older folks in town. They might have the most at stake since they've seen the park hold so many community events. Jack rubbed his chin, realizing she was right. We could set up a flyer campaign. And maybe even go door to door. Get the local schools involved. This is a fight for everyone. A fight for their memories. Emma's eyes shone. We could hold art workshops for kids at the park. Teach them about what it means to us and get them to paint their memories. Jack nodded, feeling a swell of pride in his daughter's proactive spirit. Let us facilitate this creativity. We can make it a fun day of painting, food, and community. Something that brings everyone together. The trio dove into more specifics, the energy in the room elevating with every new idea. But as they mapped out their plans, another thought gripped Jack. What if the council had already decided? What if they didn't care about their efforts at all? Just then, Mrs. Finley's phone rang. Hearing her friend's voice on the other end quickly shifted the atmosphere. Jack could see the concern written in her features. He focused on Emma, who kept sketching, her mouth in a tight line. She probably felt that worry, too. After a moment, Mrs. Finley hung up, her face pale. That was Marcia. She said the vote is scheduled for next week, not in a month. We have so little time. The weight of that news pressed down on them. Emma dropped her pencil, and Jack felt his heart race. So, we really have to hustle. We might need to make some noise, get the media involved, too. With renewed vigor, Jack pulled out his phone and started to scroll through community contact lists. I'll call the local paper. If we can get a story out, it could bring more attention to this fight. We need a turnout for the meeting. As Jack dialed the number, he could feel the tight knot of fear transforming into something sharper: determination. If word spread quickly, perhaps they could build up a critical mass of voices. Emma stood up, eyes bright. Dad! Can we make a video too? Like a mini documentary about the park? I can interview our neighbors and film their stories. Then we can share it online. Yes! Jack exclaimed, fire igniting within him. This is it. Storytelling will be our weapon. Let the community speak. While they continued to finalize their plans, Jack knew it wasn't just about opposing a council decision. It was about fighting for their shared identity, the threads that wove their community together. But doubts lingered. Would their voices truly be heard over the proposal of corporate giants? As they wrapped up their meeting, Jack felt a tug in his heart. Could they really rally the town against such powerful interests? Okay, we're doing this. Tomorrow, we hit the ground running with flyers, the video, and calls, he said, trying to keep his resolve steady. But when the vote comes, we need everyone there. They can't ignore us. Jack paused, eyes falling on the bright green baseball cap hanging on the wall, handed down from generation to generation. A symbol of the park's legacy. With that, a sudden hope sparked within him. We're not just fighting for the park. We're fighting for everything that needs protecting in our community. But as they left the shop to head home, one question echoed in Jack's mind: what if everything they believed in was about to be tested in ways they never expected? Early the next morning, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm light across the bustling town. Jack stood at the kitchen counter, a stack of flyers spread out before him. He could hardly contain his excitement. Each paper felt like a rallying cry for hope, a call to action. Emma rushed in, her backpack slung over one shoulder, her face still lit with dreams of what they could achieve. "Dad! I was thinking," she started, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "What if we create a giant mural at the park? Something everyone can add to, so it's like a community project? It'll show we're all in this together." Jack's heart swelled. "That's brilliant, Em. A mural would really sum everything up. We'll make it a symbol of our fight. Let's put that on the flyers too." Just then, Mrs. Finley arrived, a box of art supplies in hand. "Are you all ready for this?" she asked, her eyes gleaming with determination. "I've got brushes, poster paints, and some snacks for later. We'll need energy as we take this town by storm." As they piled their supplies into Emma's little wagon, a wave of nerves washed over Jack. The thought of how much was riding on all of this sent a shiver down his spine. What if we don't get enough people to show up? He wondered aloud, biting his lip. Emma placed her hand on his. "We will. And if we don't, we just need to keep trying." Her voice was steady, filled with the kind of hope that Jack needed to hear. That extra bit of confidence lit a fire inside him, pushing aside his lingering doubts. They hit the streets, knocking on doors, plastering community boards with colorful flyers. Jack felt the energy of their town pulsing around him, the rustle of leaves, laughter of children, the sight of neighbors greeting one another. He knew this was what they were fighting for. As they approached the center of town, Jack could see Mr. Harris, the local librarian, standing outside his shop. Jack approached him, waving the flyer. "Mr. Harris, we're organizing a big event at the park to save it from the council's plan. Would you help us get the word out?" A crease formed on Mr. Harris's forehead. "I remember when that park was the heart of our community," he said, stepping closer. "What do you need from me?" "Every voice counts, sir. We need people to unite, attend the meeting, and share their stories. Can you help spread the word at the library?" Jack's voice quivered with urgency. "Absolutely, I'll put an announcement in the newsletter. You boys keep those kids motivated," Mr. Harris promised with a smile. Quicker than Jack could anticipate, word spread. The residents began to respond, each interaction feeding a fire of collective passion and adamancy. By the time evening fell, Jack had gathered stories about the park, the laughter, the parades, the first plays, the first kisses. That night, as Jack collapsed on the couch, he glanced at Emma, who was busy drafting interview questions. The determination on her face reminded him of the stakes at hand. But a sensation gnawed at him, the reality of their struggle weighed heavily. Would all this energy and hope be enough to defeat corporate interests lurking just around the corner? "Tomorrow, we'll film the stories and showcase this love," he vowed, an ember of hope ignited in his chest. "Dad," Emma said softly, her voice almost a whisper, "what if things don't go our way?" Jack looked into her eyes, searching for the right words. "Then we will keep fighting, together. There's always a chance if we don't give up." As he drifted into sleep, Jack knew one thing for sure: each person they touched, every voice they amplified, would remind the council they were more than a decision on paper. They were a community and they were alive. But in the quiet of the night, a chilling thought crossed his mind: what if the council had already made up its mind, and their voices wouldn't matter at all? Jack woke up to the soft glow of dawn filtering through the curtains. The weight of his thoughts from the night before still lingered. He glanced at Emma, who was already wide awake, her determination bubbling beneath the surface as she jotted down ideas for the filming. Today was the day they would share their dreams and memories with the town, but a creeping fear gnawed at Jack's gut. What if the outpouring of hope wasn't enough? "Dad! We need to hurry," Emma called, her excitement infectious despite his worries. "Right behind you," he replied, forcing a smile. After a quick breakfast, they rushed to the park where Mrs. Finley had set up a colorful booth filled with posters and snacks. Kids ran around with painted hands, their laughter mingling with the sound of eager conversations, thick with hope. Jack looked around, his heart swelling. This was what community looked like: togetherness shining through. Emma started collecting stories first. A group of teenagers gathered, animatedly discussing their memories: the summer picnics, the basketball tournaments, even the spontaneous rain dance that had brought everyone close one magical evening. Jack felt a surge of warmth. "Can you share that?" he asked a tall boy, his voice filled with curiosity. "Sure. That day it felt like we were all family," the boy said, his expressions full of emotion. "We danced, we laughed, and we learned to let go together. It was just us, the park, and pure joy." As the boy spoke, Jack realized that this wasn't just about saving a park. It was about preserving the friendships, the laughter, and the memories, all of which made their community unique. Emma captured every word, her eyes glistening with immense pride. They moved from group to group, amplifying voices and laughter. As they filmed, Jack couldn't help but feel each story was a thread, weaving a tapestry of their shared lives. After capturing a heartfelt tale from an elderly woman about her late husband proposing under the old oak tree, Jack felt a lump in his throat. "You see, sweetie. This is everything. These stories matter. They are the reasons we fight." Suddenly, Mrs. Finley called out. "Everyone! Gather round. We're about to start the mural." Excitement erupted, and soon enough, children and adults began to paint together, the canvas of their hopes and dreams stretching out before them. Jack picked up a brush, joining Emma at the front. With every stroke, he felt the weight of his fears lighten, replaced by a sense of purpose that coursed through everyone gathered. As the first colors filled the canvas, he turned to Emma. "What if today changes everything?" he asked, his voice shaky with possibility. "We will make it change. It has to," Emma replied, her eyes sparkling. But as the mural began to take shape, Jack spotted a figure lurking at the edge of the park: a man in a dark coat, his expression unreadable. Something about him felt ominous, as if he were observing everything with a keen interest. The man glanced at Jack, then turned on his heel and walked away briskly. "Did you see him?" Jack asked Emma, his heart racing. "Who?" she asked, distracted by the mural. "Nothing, just keep painting." But something nagged at Jack. The council's influence felt closer than ever. He swallowed hard, unease creeping back in. As they put the finishing touches on the mural, a mix of fear and hope swirled in Jack's chest. He understood this day wasn't just about art, it was a declaration of their resilience. But a question loomed in his mind: what would happen when the council found out? And as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across their vibrant mural, Jack felt the weight of that question hang heavy in the air, the stakes mounting for all of them. Would this beautiful expression of their community be enough to stand against the forces threatening to tear it apart? Jack stood back, admiring the mural as the golden light bathed it in warmth. Kids giggled, their hands splattered with paint, as laughter echoed around him. Emma was in her element, guiding her friends with excitement, showing them where to add color to the field and where to paint the sun shining above. It was beautiful, chaotic, and filled with hope. But the lurking suspicion of danger from the council hung thick like the paint that covered their canvas. Jack tried to push that thought away, to focus on the joy that surrounded them. People from the community gathered, sharing snacks, stories, and their enthusiasm for the project. It was the way the town should feel alive and vibrant. "Dad!" Emma pulled him from his thoughts, her cheeks dusted with paint. "Look at what we've created. Everyone here cares." Her enthusiasm radiated off her, igniting the passion in Jack's heart. "Yeah, it's incredible," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Just then, he noticed Mrs. Finley making her way towards them, a broad smile plastered on her face. "Jack! You have to see this," she called out as she approached, clutching her phone. "The local paper just posted about our mural. It's already getting attention online, and some news outlets want to cover the story too." His heart raced at the idea. "Really?" he asked, trying to contain his excitement. "Yes. People are responding. They're sharing their own memories of the park." Mrs. Finley grinned wider. "This is exactly what we need to rally support." As if on cue, Emma jumped up, cheering and pulling in a few friends to join her. The energy from the crowd intensified, an electric pulse running through the group. Jack felt the urgency build, their hopes were manifesting into something tangible. "Let us keep spreading the word," he called out, determination filling his voice. "If we gather stories from everyone, we'll show the council our unity. They can't ignore us if we're loud enough." The crowd erupted with enthusiasm, and as the sun began to dip lower in the sky, the colors on the mural glowed brighter, much like the spirit he felt around him. That night, as they cleaned up and shared a pizza, the air remained thick with excitement. But as Jack washed the paint off his hands, a lingering worry returned. "Emma," he said, glancing at her. "What do you think will happen when the council sees this?" She paused, her eyes searching his. "We just have to keep pushing forward, Dad. We can't let them push us down." Her voice was steady despite the uncertainty. Jack nodded, but beneath his brave face, questions swirled. What if all of this was still in vain? What if the council's power was just too great? But the next day, as he opened the shop early, the phone rang and he picked it up, his heart racing. It was news that sent droplets of hope cascading through him. They had an offer to cover the mural's unveiling, and community leaders were mobilizing to attend the town meeting. It felt like a wave of collective strength. "Emma! You're not going to believe this," he shouted, his heart racing with excitement. As he filled her in, Emma's face transformed into a mixture of disbelief and thrill. "We're doing this, Dad. Together!" she exclaimed. Days passed in a beautiful haze of preparation. They gathered stories and painted memories, breathing life into their campaign. Jack witnessed extraordinary transformations within his community. People who hadn't spoken in years were now coming together, working as one. Finally, the day of the town meeting arrived. Jack took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the crowd around him. Residents filled the community center, their voices a chorus, rising alongside the intricate mural shining behind them. "Welcome, everyone." Jack spoke, his voice amplifying through the room. "We're here not just to save the park, but to preserve our shared home and history." The residents erupted with applause, some holding signs Emma had made, reflecting their community spirit. Emma stood by his side, her face beaming with pride. After Jack spoke, the room fell into a heavy silence as a council member took the floor. Jack's heart raced as he heard familiar words he'd heard before: progress, development, gentrification. But as the councilman continued to talk, Jack felt an unexpected calm wash over him. He could see the faces in the crowd, filled with determination. Emma squeezed his hand, her presence anchoring him. As we discuss these plans, let us remember what actually makes our town thrive, our community, our connections, and a legacy that belongs to everyone, not just a few, Jack called out, addressing the council directly. Imagine if we cherished this place instead of demolishing it. We could embrace both progress and our roots. Change can emerge from love and respect. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, and Jack felt electrified. The crowd began to rise, intermixing their voices to create an anthem of hope, an unstoppable force echoing through the center. In that moment, Jack saw the transformation in Emma's eyes, a recognition of how important their connection to the community was. The council members shifted uncomfortably as resistance grew louder, understanding that their plans faced a formidable wall of love and determination. Jack realized this fight was merging all their dreams into one. When the gavel finally fell, the council seemed taken aback by the unity displayed that day. They saw their proposals immediately flood into questions and opposition from the town. Let us take a break and revisit this. We will hear from more residents, one council member finally relented, forced by the village's pulse. As soon as the meeting adjourned, Jack turned to Emma, tears welling in their eyes. We did it, he whispered, feeling the warmth of victory. They embraced tightly, 100 people surrounded them, celebrating the strength of their bond, and their town. It was a beautiful sight, a testament that family and community could not be separated. And beyond the shadows of uncertainty lay a glorious future, one where dreams could thrive side by side, hand in hand. They understood each other now, dreams didn't have to compete with home, they could blossom together, transforming both. Jack knew they had begun a new chapter, one filled with hope and resilience. The life of their town wasn't just saved, it was renewed, glowing like the colors of their mural, a touchstone for generations to come. You need to subscribe now to be part of more powerful stories like this. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now because you know it matters. Comment your thoughts below. What part of this story transformed you? And don't wait not even one more second. Share instantly this with at least 5 friends who need this kind of hope.